The US president has learned a new term, semi-fascism. And of course, he is misusing it to attack half the country. When he was asked to clarify what he meant by semi-fascism, he gave a semi-literate response.
What do you mean by semi-fascism, sir?
In December, you will...
You know what I mean.
Yeah, that's Joe. You're not going to get much sense out of him. Let's see if the White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre can give a coherent answer to what the president means when he condemns Republicans and Trump supporters as semi-fascists.
On the semi-fascism comment, is this something we're going to hear more of, that phrase? Is it something the president's going to kind of embrace? Or is there any sense that it was a little impromptu and it's going to turn into a kind of basket of deplorables thing that he regrets and tries to be quiet about?
Look, I was very clear when laying out and defining what MAGA Republicans have done, and you look at the definition of fascism and you think about what they're doing in attacking our democracy, what they're doing in taking away our freedoms, wanting to take away our rights, our voting rights. I mean, that is what that is. It is very clear.
Republicans are doing what now? They're the ones attacking your freedoms and trying to take away your votes? OK. This Orwellian claptrap might work with the demented resistance crowd who still think Russia stole the 2016 election, but sane people would know that fascism is a system of government where opponents and critics are suppressed and attacked. It's subordination of individual interests for the supposed good of the nation, including the regimentation of society and the economy. It's using the police and other government agencies to come after your opponents. Sound familiar? We've seen how hopelessly compromised and politicised agencies like the FBI and IRS have become, acting as the Democrats' enforcers. Then there's the bulk of the mainstream media and big tech platforms which act as the Democrats' propaganda arms. If you want to talk about semi-fascism, then look no further than the FBI's role in pushing the damaging Russian collusion hoax for years to undermine the election and presidency of Donald Trump. Look at the FBI's complicity in suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop stories before the 2020 election. The full extent of that complicity was revealed by Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg this week.
The background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant.
Where does one start? Oh, how about this? The FBI had Hunter Biden's laptop since December 2019. They knew better than anybody that it was real and not some Russian disinfo campaign. But not only did they not do their jobs and properly investigate the revelations from the laptop, but they worked behind the scenes to ensure that social media giants banned the stories about Hunter Biden's lawless degeneracy and, more importantly, the dodgy international business dealings of the Biden family, including 10% for the big guy. Remember, the New York Post bombshell stories were not only banned by Twitter, suppressed by Facebook and the media, but there was a genuine misinformation campaign by the media and intelligence officials pushing the lie that the stories were Russian propaganda. Again, there was not a shred of evidence to support this claim, but these spies who lie are part of the Democrats' unofficial machinery. And it's no wonder the FBI, big tech and the media were desperate to bury these stories on the eve of the 2020 election. They would have been hugely damaging for the Biden campaign. A recent poll shows a clear majority believe truthful reporting of the stories would have changed the outcome of the election. And a poll carried out earlier this year shows that a clear majority of Americans, 2/3, believe the laptop stories were important, and 1 in 2 Americans believe that truthful reporting of these stories would have seen Trump win a second term. Looking at the FBI's conduct throughout this affair, it's impossible not to conclude that they engaged in election interference. Deliberate election interference that continues to this day. It's also worth remembering that Mark Zuckerberg isn't some disinterested billionaire. He donated $419 million to fortify the 2020 election. And he was, of course, in a powerful position to suppress legitimate news stories that were damaging for the Biden campaign. And all the while, he had the FBI whispering in his ear, encouraging him to do just that. You want to talk about semi-fascism, President? Look in the mirror.
Yes, semi-fascist, you heard it here. So being a news organization, we rushed out to our dictionaries, yes, we still have them, to find out what this term, semi-fascist, actually means. We regret to inform you, it's not there. Are we just to come to our own conclusions about what this new derogatory term means? Does it mean maybe fascist light, diet fascism, cherry fascist zero, fascism on a keto diet, low-carb fascism, unsweetened fascism, or how about my personal favorite, gluten-free fascism? I like that one. Yes, I really like that one. But still, it's not really saying anything, is it? It's just words. We're just left to wonder, what does semi-fascism even mean? Yes, what does it mean? So let's just go then to the real word here, because we know at the end of the day what they really meant, what the implication was. Yes, I'm talking about the word fascism. What is it, and what is it not? Fascism is a system of government marked by centralization of authority under a dictator, not decentralization, centralization. A capitalist economy subject to stringent government controls, violence, suppression of the opposition, and typically a policy of belligerent nationalism and even racism. In essence, fascism is a fusion of state powers and corporate or private powers to exert control over a particular group of people. The state or government tells a corporation or private entity to go after those people. Yes, those people. The government tells the giant, almost monopolistic corporations through back channels or hidden incentives to make life hard for those that do not comply. In a nutshell, as is the case here, fascism is a system of government where that government goes around the safeguards the Constitution and the Bill of Rights put in place to keep it in check. And instead it uses private business and monopolistic corporations as a proxy to get its way and to stay in power. That is fascism. That is fascism. A number of key words here, but let's focus on one right now, and that is centralization. Centralization of what? Of power. Power. Centralization of power. Remind me again of which party or group of people seeks centralization of power, and which party or group of people seeks decentralization of power. You know the answer to this immediately. Here's the thing. They know full well, at least those in charge, I'm sure there's a good chunk of people out there that actually don't know, but they've been lied to so long that they've swallowed that lie whole and it's become a part of them. But I'm talking about those in charge. Yes, those in charge. They know full well what they are doing and what their totalitarian tendencies lead to. It leads to centralization of power, which then leads to socialism, which in turn leads to communism, which in turn leads to tyranny and countless deaths of innocent people, because this is exactly what tyrants do. All of history proves this. All of it. Every bit of it. One can point to the nationalism bit in the definition of fascism. All you want. All you want. Go for it. But when you willfully ignore the rest of the definition, you know the one about this decentralization of power under a dictator using the market to destroy those people's lives, well, you are willfully ignoring that and you've lost the plot. And if you're in power, then you've intentionally broken the social contract and ignored the consent of the governed. So let's come back to those MAGA Republicans being called semi-fascist. Just who are the MAGA Republicans? Is that term just reserved for those wearing a red hat? Or is it meant to be broader? Is it meant to capture those moms going to school board meetings? Is it meant to capture that blue-collar guy driving home in a pickup truck with a Gadsden flag on it? Is it meant to include all of the black and brown people who are walking away from a certain party that's done nothing for them? What about the log cabin Republicans? What about small businesses and the owners that are trying to defend their livelihoods from criminals breaking down the doors? What about all those minorities that don't quite go so far as to say, please don't teach that to our children? What about them? You see, MAGA Republicans can mean a whole lot of people. And now, all of those whole lot of people are, quote-unquote, semi-fascist. Let's look at this yet another way. This is the first time, I believe, a sitting president has insinuated something directly onto the people he governs. No, wait, listen to me closely. I said the people. I didn't say politicians, bureaucrats. I didn't say elites. I didn't say those in position of power. I said the people. When Trump was in office, yes, he definitely had some mean tweets, and some that were we on the air at the time, we would have called him out on. Trump attacked a lot of people. Some of them deserved it, mind you. But look, actually look at who he targeted. Did he target the people? I'm going to ask that again. I know there are a lot of orange man bad people out there, and some we just can't save. But listen. Did President Trump, target the people? The people, as far as I can recollect or find, he did not. He targeted the media. He targeted those in power. He targeted world leaders. He targeted politicians and bureaucrats. Back to now, and the story here at hand. Who did the sitting president just target with a semi-fascist label? He targeted the people. Say it with me now. He targeted the people. Say what you want about those MAGA Republicans. They are still part of the people. They are part of the social contract just as much as the progressive is. Oh, wait. Progressive? Who is that you speak of? Bear with me here a moment. Let's take an honest look at the progressive. The progressive is pro-lockdown. The progressive is pro-mandate. The progressive is pro-using the power of the FBI for political gain. The progressive is pro-cancel culture. The progressive is pro-centralization of power. You see where this is going, don't you? You see it. I know you do. When asked to clarify his statement in a later press briefing, President Biden said, quote unquote, you know what I mean. Well, I'm here to say, no, Joe, we don't know what you mean. Why don't you take time to tell us what you really mean? Please inform us just who the MAGA Republicans are and inform us what you mean by semi-fascism. We're here all day. We're here the rest of the week. And we're here indefinitely by the good graces of people that want to listen to us laugh at the news, at politics, at culture, and the government, and you. To end, I will say this. If you're going to gaslight the people, try harder. And if you want to demean the people, then think better and don't. Thank you, and God bless. Me gaslight. Ha ha ha. Me gaslight. Yes.